What is going on, guys? Welcome to the first episode. Oh, don't forget to rotate. Now, here with me is someone I've known a long time. He's been a good friend for... How long is that I've known you now?
Oh,
Since high
that's
school.
a good question.
So it's been...
Yeah.
I mean, I've been out of high school for almost 10 years now, so... Jesus. It's been a while.
Call it 10.
Yeah, we'll call it 10 years, make us feel that little bit less old, you know. But, yeah, so obviously, with me, my buddy George here. George has always been into gaming, but recently he's kind of started getting into CDL, that kind of thing. And of all teams, he's a rocker. Interesting one, but we'll get into that a little bit later on, guys. But this podcast, what we're going to do, if you saw the teaser video for it yesterday, you'll know we talk about CDL, we talk about Call of Duty, and we just talk about all things gaming, really. We break it down, we shoot the shit, and we just try and have a laugh with it. So, hopefully you guys are going to enjoy this, and let's get into episode number 1, shall we? So, first things first, George, tell the people about yourselves.
Right, so I guess the first game I sort of played was Modern Warfare 2 on the Xbox. I remember getting an Xbox 360 for Christmas, and that was the first game.
What a first game.
It was the first game that I'd actually owned. I'd played like the previous, I think it was COD 4 before that. I played that at a friend's house a couple of times, but the first game we owned was Modern Warfare 2, and I distinctly remember it because we used to stand the Xbox up, and then you knock the table, the Xbox has fallen over, and do you remember laser burn?
Yes. Oh, so no, man.
Within a week,
started in that.
Within a week, we'd laser burn Modern Warfare 2.
Oh, no.
But we went back. We went back to game, and we were like, "Oh, it doesn't work," and they were like, "Oh, because it's Christmas, we'll give you a new one." So
no way.
And then I remember playing Black Ops 2 as well, but other than that, it's been fairly dry up until Cold War. My brother duped me into getting Advanced Warfare, but I think I played it for about half an hour.
What?
So I paid 50 quid.
In terms of the advanced movement games, this is really not going to be popular. But in terms of the advanced movement games, Advanced Warfare was like up. That was like top for me. I loved Advanced Warfare. Like at the time, people didn't really, but looking back on it, I loved that game. I loved it.
Like I say, I paid 50 quid for it, and I played it for about half an hour. Never touched it again.
No.
Tell a lie, actually. I think I played Black Ops 4 a bit as well, because I remember playing Blackout a few times with my brother, because it was like. That was the Battle Royale season, wasn't it? It was the time where those games were coming out and about, and I remember playing that a couple of times.
Also, not sorry. Blackout's better than Warzone. Just saying.
That is wow. Okay.
Blackout a million times better than Warzone. Like Warzone, not only is it now poorly managed, but Blackout, it wasn't a case of you picked a gun up off the floor. It had set attachments. You picked a gun up, it was the stock gun. You went about and you found attachments. There was none of this custom class bull. There was none of this UAVs, RCXDs.
Okay.
Blackout was
I think
so
I'm inclined.
Better.
I'm inclined to say that's a fair point, but I think Warzone is due to the timing of when it came out. Like you have to think like when it came out, we were in. Official lockdown number 1, and it was what me and people from work we'd finish work at 5:30, and we'd load Warzone up. So it does have a slight bias.
I do get it. I get it, and I can understand why.
I think you are right, though. I think finding attachments around the map does add a certain element to it, because I've got my loves and hates for Warzone. They ruined the game, and then they fixed it, and then they ruined it again. So yeah, but maybe I didn't give Blackout enough credit at the time.
I mean, this is the thing, right? For me, hands down, like don't get me wrong, like Warzone when it first came out, it was good. It was decent. I still think that create a class in a Battle Royale game has no place, but it is what it is, you work with it, right? But I do not think Warzone would have blown up the way it did if it didn't come at a time where every other BR was just getting absolutely slated. Everyone was just hating them. Warzone came at the perfect time to fill the gap in the market where people were wanting something new.
Yeah,
And
I think you're right.
I mean, Apex is got a hardcore fan base that still play it.
Never played that one.
Fortnite is now at the point where it's like people feel like they cannot play it unless they're like top level players. Because like even now, I went back, I streamed it a couple of days ago, and like I used to be able to hop on, like for example, like literally even last year, me and you hopped on, won our first match, popped off.
We did, didn't we?
Games. Yeah, like even just last year, hopped on, won our first match, popped off in a couple of games. Tried it the other day on stream, hopped on, and the difference was night and day.
That
like,
was one of our standards.
Everyone builds like a pro, honestly.
Yeah,
everyone builds like a pro.
That was one of our trademark games where you get 15 plus kills and I'm sat there with maybe 2, 3 if I'm lucky.
I mean, maybe.
It definitely was, because I remember spectating you for about half an hour.
Yeah, I carried, didn't I? I carried.
Yeah. But,
anyway,
but going back, yeah, you are right. It came at the right time. It came at the time where people were either getting bored of the main Battle Royale games, or people were just getting fed up. Like I remember me and Kyle used to play like PUBG all the time, and the amount of times I didn't load in properly, got stuck in a wall. It was unplayable, but we played it for so long.
Or you and Will start lagging, flip a Jeep into an electric
Do you remember
pylon.
That was insane.
But I wish we had the clip of it so I could put it on screen now. But
you know what? I think Will's probably still got that. I'm going to ask him about that.
Double check with Will, and what we'll do is I won't have time by the time we check and everything to put it up on this, but what we'll do is either next episode or on the promo tweets and stuff like that for this, I will make sure to reply with the video or get George to reply with the video.
I've definitely got highlights of me getting stuck in walls that haven't loaded in properly, but that was the big ticket item, wasn't it? When that Jeep crashed.
So for clarity, Rick, so obviously, if anyone watching this is like, oh, what are you guys on about? You aren't going. Basically, this was like my very first session of ever playing PUBG, and like I'd played PUBG in PC for a while. Came out on Xbox. George, my brother-in-law Kyle, and George's brother Will all had it. They were like, "Oh, get it on Xbox, come play." So first ever session, I download it, I load in. Not only does the map look like it's a melted Crayola packet, it literally just looks like melted crayons all over the place. We get in, after about 5 minutes, we're looted up, where everything's good. Right? Driving along, me and Kyle hop out to go loot one building. George and Will are like, yeah, no, we're going to go to this one. Up over the map, right? So, next thing you know, all we hear is, whoa. Like, I'm lagging. Me and Kyle, as we're on our way, we look at the building, we see the Jeep that they were in, currently stuck at that angle into an electrical pylon, rotating this way. Next thing you know, the Jeep full on flips backwards. Boom. George and Will die.
It was, the thing is, from our perspective, Will had completely crashed out of the game.
Yeah.
And from my perspective, it was just a frozen screen, and then it just jump cut, and then that's when it was spinning around and all this shit. And I was just like, what is going on here? And then yeah, we blew up.
So blame the internet then, is what you're saying. Blame the internet.
Yeah, it was obviously our connection, wasn't it?
Fair enough. Nothing to do with a completely buggy and not at all ported and optimised game, but just blame the internet. Right, now, anyway, so, very quickly, obviously, a lot of this podcast, we're just going to be, like, free talking, having a laugh, whatever, but we do have some talking points we want to hit on as well. Now, obviously, people might be watching this and like, oh, okay, who are you? Why do we want to listen to you when it comes to like CDL and that kind of thing? why we wanted to do this, like, we'll kind of give you a bit of a background rather, on, like, experience in gaming and why we wanted to do the podcast. Now, as I said at the start, George has been a friend for, like, 10 plus years at this point. He was best man at my sister and Kyle's wedding. His partner has been like a little sister to me since we were like, 13? Something. Well, I was there 12, 13?
Probably.
So it's like, we've all kind of known each other for a very long time. So, moving back down here, I'm obviously seeing these guys a lot more now, and I've started playing like Call of Duty, League Play, Warzone, whatever, with them a lot more. And me and George kind of got into a little bit of debate about the CDL. Now, my team, Optic, it was the likes of Rambo, Nadeshot, Merc, Big T that got me into competitive, that got me into YouTube, that got me into streaming, and obviously Scump as well when they dropped Rambo for Scump. So for that, Optic's just been my team. Always has. Like, yes, I could pick a EU team, and for a while, TCM, back when they were a thing, were my European team of choice. Unfortunately, they just kind of went nowhere. But talking about it, we were having a laugh. We were talking about the Rocker Optic match. I was being slated by George. But I wasn't. You were nice about it. You were just like, well, we kind of spoke to you.
It was a bit of a shock result for me as well.
And we were just talking about it, and George kind of hit on a couple of things that kind of made me think. Like, obviously, like, this is no disrespect intended to George. I think George would admit I've been engrossed in the competitive scene and the competitive side of Call of Duty, and higher level play Call of Duty for a good bit longer than you have, would be fair to say. Yeah.
I think it's more than fair to say. You don't have to beat around the bush with it.
Fair enough. Okay, fair enough. I was trying to be polite about it. I wasn't trying to sit here and go, yeah, I've been doing it a while. This guy's an absolute noob. Don't worry about it. But, and I don't know, something just kind of twigged in my head where it's like, we had such contrasting points of views on something. I can't remember what it was we were actually arguing about. I'd need to go back through Messenger and find it, but we were arguing about something. You'd mentioned something and I hit you with a counterpoint about it.
Is this the accuracy Major Maniac as the main
that's
AR player? I think that's what it was.
That's what it was. Like, we were talking about this. Like, obviously, Rocker, they are very obviously turning it around since the pick up of Standy. But, like, we were kind of talking about this, and we were kind of talking about roles and what players kind of need. And to be fair to you, you kind of just, or at least from my point of view, it kind of looked like you just looked at the numbers,
I think
the
that's
intangibles.
Fair.
So it's like it kind of felt like George looked at the numbers and was kind of making his decision just based on that alone. Whereas
I think it's fair as just a disclaimer.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I think it's just fair as a disclaimer just to say that we having audio trouble.
No, that's just my chair. My chair just likes to go from time to time.
Just as a disclaimer, like my Call of Duty competitive scene knowledge dates back to the start of this season, stage 1. So I have a much more short-term perspective compared to you, Dale.
Yeah.
So
whereas I've been watching it since like
MW3. Exactly. And so everything, all of my opinions come solely from this season alone. And I think that's probably why you asked me to do this. Really, it's the contrast in our opinions comes from the fact that you've got a lot more experience.
Yeah, I mean, you've kind of phrased that in a way that allows me to cut the long-winded explanation, but the whole point of this was kind of to contrast the views of someone who's a bit more of a casual gamer, which would be fair to say you don't put in as many hours as me, you've not been watching as long as me. Like, this is the thing. That sounds really bad. This is not me trying to gatekeep. The more people that come and watch COD, the more people that come and get involved in COD, I absolutely love it. it's more we're just looking at this from a point of view of contrasting perspectives and opinions of someone that's been involved for a long time compared to someone that's relatively new to it. And we thought it would be interesting to do something where we get to look at both those opinions, see how easy it is for someone that's new to pick up on stuff and learn stuff. And also to kind of, in a way, for people that don't play it as much, come along on a journey with George as we talk about stuff. As George learns more, maybe you'll learn more too. I'll probably learn a lot of stuff along the way as well. But we just thought it would be an interesting concept to do. So, yeah. But with that, we kind of touched on it there. I've been watching competitive from tail end of Modern Warfare 3. I've been playing it since Black Ops 2. I've coached, I've casted, I've owned teams, I've managed teams. I've done pretty much everything there is to do in that kind of space, apart from playing in a pro team. But yeah, so other than that, that's just kind of my background, and that's kind of why, like, compared to George, I'm not saying I know it all, I'm not saying I'm the best, or I'm nowhere near. Even in, like, the low I'm seeing, like, I would be nowhere near. I'd still be, like, bottom of the barrel. But it's, like, just taking the experience I have and comparing it to George. Like, we thought it would be interesting for people to watch and kind of contrast and learn. But, yeah.
And that's where we're going back onto this accuracy versus Major Maniac point, isn't it?
I mean,
because as someone who's watched most, if not all, of the Rocker games, whether live or afterwards, this season for me, Major Maniac was the consistent underperformer. And I know you said, you know, he is the main AR player. He is the one who's you know, holding spawns.
well,
you know, maybe leading the team a bit more.
This is the thing, right? Rocker's issue came from the fact that both Major Maniac and Accuracy are that typical Maniac player. Both of them are the guys that like playing that role, essentially. And when you force a player into a different role, maybe something they're not as comfortable with, you're obviously not going to see them perform as well. Now, obviously, there's the debate when he was playing, there was still the XM4 that was the do-it-all weapon. Does that come into it? Yes, it does. You see players like Dashy that were putting up absolutely insane numbers with it. So does that come into the argument a little bit? Probably. But for me, accuracy, like... See, this is where I am... I don't watch every Rocker game. I really haven't been a fan of accuracy for a couple of years. So there could possibly be some bias in there, but straight up, I'm going to say I do not watch enough of accuracy to know, other than whenever he plays against, like, one of the teams that I happen to support. But my argument to George was Major Maniac, when he played with FaZe, he, like, granted, when he was playing with FaZe last year, he had Simp, Abizi, Celium, and it was 5 last year. Who was their fourth? And Priesta.
Priesta, yeah.
So you had Simp, Abizi, Celium, and Priesta. With those 4 guys on the map, you really don't need to do much as an AR to, like, kind of fill in the gaps, right? So, granted, you put probably any AR into that FaZe team, they're going to do, maybe not as well as Major Maniac did, but they're still going to do decent. But he came into, from 5v5 to 4v4, came into Rocker, he came with Priesta, obviously linking up with Attach and Accuracy. And I don't know, for me, it kind of felt like a lot of the time you'd see Lamar or Accuracy, sorry. You'd see Accuracy not necessarily playing for stats, but he wasn't playing for the team either. Like, it was just kind of caught in that no man's land in between. Whereas for me, a lot of the time, whenever I've watched them play this season, it was always Major Maniac that was making the correct play, that was rotating, that was, like, trying to get spawns, that was trying to get cuts. But the issue with that is he was always getting pushed out by other teams the way you should by 2 players. Like, their subs were pushing through to get the spawns, getting their AR players' presence through there. and he was always just so for me, I think that's one of the reasons why Major Maniac's stats weren't as good as they were in that phase team. That phase team last year, not only did you have the Tiny Terrors and just a team full of absolute superstars, right? But after Crowder came and whipped them into shape halfway through the year, they were unplayable. They just played the game so well. They could kill so well. They were unplayable. So going for that to Rocker, I think there's a big difference. I think maybe Maniac, I'm not going to put it on any one player, but I think maybe Major Maniac and Accuracy weren't on the same page. They weren't kind of playing with the same headspace. So, I mean, for me, I'd have liked to have seen Major Maniac move to that AR position and bring Standy in, because I mean, it's again, granted, with that phase team last year, it's not hard to win championships with that phase team. But you've got Major Maniac, who's won multiple championships, multiple events in the past year or so, in comparison to Accuracy, who honestly I don't rate as high. I don't know a lot about either of these players, but from what I do know, I would rate Major Maniac above Accuracy. Now, this is not to say Accuracy is not a good player. We obviously saw when Standys came in, they've obviously changed something. They're doing something different, because Accuracy, oh my, he went off in S&D.
That Miami three-piece.
Man. So for me, I don't know.
It's so. See, my perspective is, like I say, I haven't been watching long enough to make the definite call that Accuracy is better or Major Maniac's better. But something did have to change.
No, I can definitely agree with that.
And what you've got is you've got two players coming from subliners, Attach and Accuracy, and you've got two players coming from Phase, and that makes it incredibly difficult to let one person go, doesn't it?
Oh God,
because you've then got one person who's been playing with said person for a while, and now they've got to be reintroduced to someone new. But then again, I suppose what you had was you had Accuracy on AR, you had Attach on SMG. They've come from the same team, and then the same with Priester and Major Maniac. So I don't like you say, if the SMGs need to work together.
I mean, this is another huge
there's a little
thing.
bit of a clash.
This is another huge thing as well, right? Priester got put on an SMG. Priester plays at his best when he's on a flex role. And again, I think maybe that's what we've seen since the change, since Standys came in. Priester's went over onto that flex role, and he's been looking a lot more like the Priester we know from last year. Obviously, you didn't watch as much last year, but trust me, Priester, I think even as a Rocker fan, you can see night and day difference in the way he's playing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know.
I know
man.
Attach talked about it on a YouTube video.
Yeah.
He said this by no means it was an easy decision for them to make, but he did bring up that a lot of people are saying it should have been Accuracy, but Attach even made the point himself. He brings a lot more to the table than just the numbers, even though the numbers weren't particularly great.
But this is the thing, though, right? This is what I kind of wanted to touch about. This is the last I really want to talk about it. Then I want to talk about Standy, because Standy. Oh my. There was a lot of talk going about when that change came, right? That it's well known in the COD scene that Attach and Accuracy are really good friends.
Yeah.
There's a lot of talk that went about that Attach, refused to bench Accuracy. And now, whether he did, whether he didn't, but there was talks that Attach was not willing to play unless it was Maniac that got benched. Now, do I think this is true? Going from the public profile Attach has, going from the public perception of Attach? No, I don't. But at the same time, I also know how hard it is to be good friends with someone and have to say to them, look, we're dropping you. You know what I mean? So it's like...
Yeah. I could see a scenario where Attach would push for it to be Accuracy staying
100%.
over Major Maniac, but I highly doubt it would have came to, well, I'm not I'm not doing it without accuracy.
I mean,
You know,
that's the
it's
thing.
one of those.
Put me or you in a situation. Like, put me in a situation where it's like I've got to choose between you and a guy that plays, in my opinion, with the way the whole thing went down, a little bit better than you, but I don't get on with as well. That I don't have the chemistry with. That I don't enjoy. Like, I'm going to choose you every time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So
Likewise.
it's a difficult one. It's difficult.
Maybe anyway. But yeah,
I don't know.
I think you have to look at the.
I mean, I think I'd really
results,
be scraping the bottom of the barrel when I'm getting to like you anyway.
I was going to say, yeah. If he's only a little bit better than me, he's probably not very good either. No, but I think you have to look at the results, don't you? You have to look at the results, and the fact of the matter is, well, for example, look at Thieves. You know, they've brought a player in.
Fact of the matter is, Standy's came in and got you your results, mate. That's the thing.
There you go. There you go. And so, is it the right decision because of the results? I'd say so.
They always say the ends justify the means. You know what I mean? So
exactly.
Is it? Maybe. We'll wait and see. Now, talking about Standy, okay, right? We've got the stats up here. If the page decides it actually wants to load up again, because it's just decided to refresh itself and it's not showing me anything. But so for you, obviously, as a Rocker fan, like you say, you watch them a lot more than me, right?
Yeah.
How big a difference is Standy making for you guys?
It's a substantial improvement, but it's not just because of Standy. It's because of moving Priester onto the flex role as well.
Yeah.
I think, Standy's obviously a lot more aggressive because he's, an actual SMG player rather than being, a flex player that's being pushed to be an SMG player. And, you saw it against Optic on Raid, because they played. It was mad, really. They played Raid Hardpoint, Raid S&D, and then Raid Control, and they 3-0'd them. And you'd think Optic
oh man,
I remember seeing fairly good at Raid.
That. I remember seeing the tweet. There was a tweet, I can't remember where it came from, but there was a tweet like 3 raids against Optic Scumpy that's been playing since Black Ops 2. Good luck. Next thing you know, we'll just get 3-0'd. I'm just sat there like.
Tweets posted moments before disaster.
Tell me about it. But right, so very quickly here now that the stats have loaded, right? In Hardpoint alone, right, Standy is dropping 23.7 kills per 10 minutes. He's overall got a 1.05 KD, which, when you play as aggressive as he does, not the worst. His engagements per 10 minute, he's up at like 46 engagements per minute. Per 10 minutes rather. 46 engagements per minute, that would be insane. 46 engagements per 10 minutes, so you're talking, probably getting about 30 to 40 engagements per map. And since he came in, guess the percentage of kills that he's responsible for. I know you can see it actually. I've just thought I'm sharing the screen so you can see that. But
do you want me to guess incorrectly so you can then tell me?
Yeah. Go.
All right, we'll do that.
Incorrectly.
I don't know. Maybe let's call it 17%.
Shocker! Wrong. He's responsible. Since he's come in Hardpoint, he's responsible for 26.1% of the team kills, which, to be fair, granted, he's playing a different role, but that is in comparison to Major Maniac, who is obviously the player that went out. Priester then went and filled that role, but that's in comparison to Major Maniac's 24.6. So he's accounting for 2% more kills on the map than they had already, right? Which makes it 2% might not seem like a lot, but when you're talking about a game that's like, say a game that's got 100 kills in it, right? 2% of 100 is 2. But 2 gunfights in a game can be huge. That's 2 gunfights that when you spawn for a hill or that stops a break in a, like, as small a number as it sounds, that's huge.
And you have to note that their hardpoint record before Standy was. I'm trying to think what it was from stage 1. I don't have the number known to me, but I think they were like 2-8, something like that. You know, they were not a good hardpoint team, and then to come on to raid hardpoint against Optic, and then the final score being 250 to 81, I think it was.
Yeah, put it this way. Rocker's overall hardpoint record right now.
Oh, you got the stats here. There you
go. 3-11. 3-11.
Yeah, so it would have been.
They were 1. They were 1-9.
It would have been.
At the start of stage 2, I believe.
No, it would have been. It'd have been 2-9 because they lost. They got 3-0 by Paris, 3-0 by Mutineers, and then they lost both hardpoints against Dallas as well. So it's actually what 2-8, 2-7.
Yeah,
from stage 1.
So take off the two that they lost to Dallas. That takes you to 9.
Yep.
Take the one off you lost to Florida, 8. The one you lost to Paris, 7.
Yeah.
So you started this stage with 2-7. I mean, granted, 3-11, not much better. But since you picked up Standy, you're now 1-2, which is a win, so it's an improvement. But I don't know. There's just something that even if you're still not winning hardpoints yet, he looks like a much more rounded player that fits the team pretty well.
Yes, agreed.
Now, I know we've been showing Standy a lot of love here. I mean, we've been recording for half an hour, and it feels like we've been talking about Standy and accuracy for about 20 minutes of it. So we're going to move on real quick to... I don't know if you've got that document there or not.
Yeah,
at the bottom of it. Clay.
I had a read of this earlier. I was
chuckling
to myself.
Off. So it's been deleted from Twitter now, right? But luckily, I thought ahead. I grabbed a screenshot of it at the time. Right?
Nice.
So I thought ahead. Okay, we're good here. But Clay last night on Twitter popped off. Oh my god! Now, for those of you that play Call of Duty casually, that don't really have an interest in CDL, that occasionally hop into League Play, right? You just might hop into League Play that's the play with the pros rule set, but it's not really the play with the pros rule set, because in the actual pro scene there's a lot of GAs, there's a lot of agreements to keep stuff out that happens behind the scenes that, well, really, GAs are gentlemen agreements. They're frowned upon by Activision. If you openly are talking about GAs and stuff like that, then there's meant to be a fine. Yet, last year at a Modern Warfare event, they turned around and actually had a graphic up on gentlemen's agreements and what the GAs were for that tour. So,
and don't get me wrong, some of them make sense. Some of them are 100%. Necessary. So, for example, I know snipers are technically GA'd.
Yeah, and snipers.
Correct me if I'm wrong.
Snipers.
It's because of the smokes.
Yes, snipers originally got GA'd because smokes were GA'd, right? Smokes got GA'd because of the one-way smoke, where you could throw smoke in the ground at your feet, you could see out of it, and you'd have aim assist, but someone looking into smoke could not see you, and they would not have aim assist. That was just a completely broken mechanic. It does not belong in a game. Any game. Doesn't matter whether you're coming from the casual side of things, where it's like, oh, but COD's just an arcade shooter. It's just for... a broken mechanic like that still doesn't belong. Or whether you're coming from the competitive side, where you strive for the most competitive environment to play in. Definitely, pardon me, definitely does not belong in that.
And so a GA makes sense there. It makes perfect sense.
So that does make sense, G in the smokes. But the issue was, with snipers this year, snipers have aim assist. They have no flinch. At pro-level play, they were overpowered. Plain and simple. There's no flinch. You're talking about the best aimers in the world on console, and no real way to counter them. So without smokes, there was no way to counter snipers. Snipers got GA'd, which again kind of makes sense. But for that was a really easy fix. All Treyarch have to do, add flinch to the snipers. Not even get rid of, but tone down aim assist on snipers. I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that hard. And I mean, if they want to keep the snipers roughly at the same point, buff the ADS time, make them a bit quicker to ADS, but hit it in other places where it hurts, where it's broken right now. But anyway, these tweets last night, Clay, I don't know what else to say other than he popped off. I really don't. Now,
I like Clayster, so and to be honest with you, bias aside, he's hit the nail on the head, hasn't he? Like,
oh, he has 100%. Now, if we look at it here, right? Does anyone else find it comedy that there's been now 4 ARs GA'd by the Challenger scene, and yet only 1 damaged barrel has been taken off a sub? Favourites tells him that 75% sub players is getting out of hand. He then talks about the ARs that have been GA'd, and then the 74U, which has only had a barrel taken off it, right? He then goes on to say he's sick of people blaming guns for this, when in reality 80% of challengers in the pro scene can't compete without having to change the meta to make it more advantageous to their team. No one really wants to learn to play the game anymore, so they just blame the game. I honestly can't stand this anymore. It's not even for the betterment of the game. It's all for the people who actually strive. Sorry. It's not for the betterment of the game. The people that originally made the GA chat to better the game all left it now because they can't stand the state that it's in. It's now just what can make my team better or make my team compete better.
But that's it's going to be like that though, isn't it? Because if you think about it, like the amount of times in league play I've just been wrecked by someone running around with an LC10. You know, if I had the option to get rid of that gun, I'd probably, I'd be like, you know what, 100%. I keep losing to it, so get rid of it. But then, like you say, the fact that SMGs haven't had the same treatment is the real problem, because it's obviously you got more SMG players.
Yep.
Technically, because you got a flex and then you got your 2 SMG players rather than 1 main AR.
I mean, that's exactly what Clay hits on in those bottom 2 tweets there. You know what I mean? It's like when 3 out of 4 players in the league are SMG players, that's obviously going to lead to an imbalance in terms of actually making the game. SMG players are always going to feel more hard done by. It's then 3v... Like, even if the AR player on that team is the captain that represents them in the GA chat, right? Because that's how they do it. They've got a captain from each team that represents them in the GA chat, and then the captains all talk about it, right? Whether that's changed or not, I don't know, but that's at least how it used to be when they did speak about it before. But even if that captain 100% is against it, like if he turned around and went against what his other 3 players are saying, he'd be gone for the team like that. He wouldn't be on that. So, like, they're stuck in a situation where it's like you can't really do much.
But how do you fix it? That's the question, isn't it? Like, do you get rid of
honestly the way you fix it? That's not going to happen.
Or do you?
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see a team going riot on the map, 4xM4. Like, I would love to see just a team go rogue completely, throw all G, like just throw it all up the wall, see what sticks. I would love to see it. Snipers out, smokes out, AKs, like XM4s, do it all. Like, I would love to see that. I would love to see the bloodbath that ensues, and I would love to see the hilarity that comes on Twitter after that series.
Wouldn't you love to see a bit more variety though? Like if you've GA'd so many ARs, it's obviously because they're powerful. If you un-GA all of them, people are going to have a preference, I think. You know, people go back to the AK. Some might go back to the XM4 because they perform better with it. Some might go back to the FFAR. I don't know why, because it's I can't get on with that one. But
you say that, but you didn't play at the start of the game when there wasn't that massive recoil on it. Like at the start of the game, that thing was a laser.
Because I gave it a go the other day, and that initial kick, I was like, Jesus,
bro! Like the far back. Like, you know how the XM4 became the do-it-all gun? The far at the start of the game was the do-it-all gun.
But
like,
so
that's mad to think, though. Think about this, right? At the start of the game, it was FARs and AKs on the map.
Yeah.
It's now Krigs. I don't even know about QBZs anymore, because QBZ
that's been GA'd.
Apparently got GA'd, but then apparently it got un-GA'd all in the space of about 4 hours, so I don't know what's going on anymore.
There weren't many people using it though, were there? You know, the most notable one,
this is the
Stashy,
thing,
obviously.
though. Apparently, like, because the way it works in private match, it was on, I believe, 12 hertz servers, or maybe 20. But the CDL games were on 60 hertz servers. Apparently, the QBZ just wasn't as good on 60 hertz, and apparently the Krig was absolutely insane on 60 hertz. So
I think that's a whole nother issue
to less as well. But
like a whole nother issue that we should touch on at some point is server.
Bro,
rates.
I could do a full podcast about that.
Yeah,
that'll be next week. I could do a full goddamn podcast about that.
Stick that one in the drawer for now. But going back to this, I was thinking about GAs the other day, and for me, the thing that would make most sense is that it's no longer controlled by the players themselves. Mm-hmm. It's controlled by a group of maybe ex-pros or you know, a group of people who don't necessarily have an attachment to a team,
100%, but
are of standing in the community.
Look at the amount of people you've got involved right now. Study on the broadcast team, former pro. Nameless in the broadcast team, former pro. Merck on the broadcast team, former pro. Even bring in people that, like Tommy. Like, obviously now he's a Warzone player for 100 Thieves, right? Former pro, bring him in. Rated, Warzone player for 100 Thieves. Former pro, bring him. Like, just bring in a group of people that if pros have an issue with a gun, go to that panel of people and be like, look, we have an issue with this. We want to GA it. That panel have a look at it, weigh it up. They're like, are these teams saying it because it benefits them? Is the gun genuinely broken? Like, they look at it properly and then go back and say, yeah, okay, it's GA'd. Or, no, it's not GA'd. These are just being little bitches about it. You know what I mean?
Teams should have to make their case for why, rather 100%. Than it just being, you know,
they probably do. They probably do in that GA chat. Like, but
probably, but everyone's
in that GA chat. In that GA chat, even with the panel thing that we're talking about, right? It's going to be BS. You know it's going to be BS. It's not going to be like, we want to GA this because it'll make our team better. It's going to be, we want to GA this because the gun's broken for X, Y, and Z reasons. But then another team will be like, the gun's not broken for X, Y, and Z reasons. It's perfectly valid. It's less than this gun, this gun, and this gun. And I don't know, man.
Yeah.
It's a very tricky situation. But this is the thing. Like, even talking about that, right? Clay's last tweet. How do you balance a game where the time to kill is 150 milliseconds, right? That is an insanely quick time to kill. Like, granted, maybe not by Call of Duty standards, but that is an insane time to kill compared to other games. Like, granted, okay, games like CSGO, games like Valorant, where it's like, Valorant, okay, you can aim down sights, but games like CS and that, where it's like hip fire, but it's set recoil patterns, right? Fair enough. Then you look at games like Rainbow Six Siege, where they've got the mechanic of like body shots. You can't kill someone quickly with like body shots in Siege, but they've also got the balance of skill, where if you can consistently hit headshots, no matter the weapon, no matter how many walls you shoot through, which I think is stupid, but this isn't a Siege episode, it'll one hit to the head. So there's that balance there of skill to reward. If you can hit headshots, you get kills. Granted, okay, yes, there's going to be lucky headshots, but, you know, overall, the balance is there. Like, every gun in Call of Duty nowadays is ridiculously easy to shoot. Like, give me a Krig, right? Give me a Krig. I'm literally just going to sit there like that. Not even touching my right stick. Just sit there like that. And I could probably kill someone. AK. Same thing. Probably going to kill someone. Go back to games like Black Ops 2, like Ghosts. Like, okay, yes, there was still minimal recoil for COD because it's an arcade game. Activision, the way they run it, they want it to be appealing to a lot of people. But there was a lot more recoil on the guns then than there was now. I mean, I'm trying to think of a gun. I mean, it's Call of Duty. There's aim assist and there's all this, that, and the other. Like, but guns in the past couple of games have been literal laser beams. And I mean, I think that's the issue. Clay kind of hits on it at the end there. They've slowly catered games to casuals, and now pros are trying to make it into competitive without actually understanding how easy the game is to play. They're overthinking everything, especially pros that are coming in, that have had their rookie years in these new games. They're coming in thinking, oh, this is what Call of Duty games look like. This isn't that hard. How were the pros that good? Like, not realising that the games nowadays are so much easier to play than like back in the day.
Yeah, and it does come back to that. It's easy to play, hard to master, and Clay is right when he says, they rather than learn how to play against the AK or play against the XM4, the easy way out is to just say, "Do you like that gun? No. Well, let's get rid of it then."
Yeah,
it's becoming it's becoming commonplace to just get rid of something that you don't like, and that's where That's where JAing is going completely wrong, isn't it?
I think it's just they're too rampant without any real substance to them. That's the thing. But anyway, on to the next. Right now, what's the one big complaint everyone has about Warzone, George? Other than SBMM, other than skill-based matchmaking, what's the one big complaint everyone has about Warzone?
I've got lots of complaints about Warzone.
Okay, what's the big one that comes to mind?
What's the big one? Well, it'll be that. Well, my guess is gun imbalance. Is that what you're referring to?
Nope.
Okay, well that's my biggest one. So I'm a little bit stuck.
Oh no, I'm talking about these guys that's boom 900-meter headshot, boom 1000-meter headshot, boom 800-meter headshot.
Are you talking about the old cheaty cheaters?
Yes, I am. I'm talking about the cheaty
there you go.
The cheaty cheaters. Now, I don't know if you've seen the link in this article or not. But
I did have a little click.
I added this one this morning because I tried catching a little bit off guard with that. But Chinese police have moved in and arrested the world's largest seller of online video game cheats that has been selling cheats for Warzone, Overwatch, Call of Duty games in general on PC. And
are these like
this is how. Yeah, but this is the thing though. It's not just like a couple of guys sitting in the basement. This is like they've actually made a business out of this, right?
Yeah.
People buying cheats to the extent, right, that their assets were worth 46 million. Million with an M. $46 million worth of assets from selling cheats. Like,
it's a big number. It's a big number, isn't it?
Not only is it like people are making money off ruining other people's experience, right? That in itself is bad, but it's like there's that amount of people. There's genuinely that amount of people that are that. And I'm sorry, when it comes to cheaters and stuff like that, I am not holding back. That are that neck beard, mother basement, absolute no lifer, absolute no friends, Timmy no thumbs, Billy no mates, sad sacks of shit that they make £46 million off people. There's that amount of people that are like that. Really?
It would be interesting to know how many people do it because they don't care, and how many people do it because they've been on the receiving end of it.
See, I mean,
if everyone else cheats, I might as well. That's what they think.
I get that completely. But this is the thing. Like for me, right, I've always been curious about what it's like to play with like walls or with aim or with like 3D radar or like. Don't get me wrong. If I could load into a Warzone lobby full of like no players, Warzone lobby full of bots, put 99 bots into Verdansk, load me up with walls, UAV, aimbot for one game, and just let me go off on bots purely to see what it is like.
Yeah.
I'd do it in a heartbeat just to see what it's like, right?
Yeah.
But there is no part of me that wants to go into a public lobby, use that against other people, not only one, ruining their game because they're dying to a cheater, but two, even if I dropped 50 kills, killed half the lobby, won that game. Where's the sense of achievement in it?
It's true. It's true.
Where's the sense of pride? Where's the yes, won this game, clutched up in that huge? Like, there's absolutely no sense of that. So I don't know.
It's true, isn't it? It's why if you think about like football, for example, it's why you have like a like in clubs you have like an under 10s bracket and under 12s under that, because if you stuck at someone 25 in a game against a bunch of kids, they're gonna beat them, and it's a similar principle, isn't it? It's a similar principle in that if I've got all these advantages, where like you're not impressive, you're just
twat. I'm going to say it as it is. You're a twat.
Exactly. So, yeah, I mean, it's cheating is just. Yeah. There's no point to it, really. I am curious to see what it would be like you say, but I wouldn't stoop low enough to do it.
Nah, tell me about it. Now, very quickly, guys, there would normally be a segment that we've done in the show where we'd be breaking down top 5 plays that you guys send in, right? Obviously, it's our first episode. We've only really been getting this going for the past couple of days, so we've not got any for you. So we've just been doing normal kind of podcasty stuff. But going forward, we want to start doing a top 5 plays segment on this show. We want you guys to send in your best clips, your funniest clips, maybe even your biggest fails. We're not going to rate them 1 to 5 on how sick the play was. Okay, we might do episodes like that, but we're not just going to do that, okay? We're going to rate them 1 to 5, or just pick out our top 5 most entertaining clips, right? And we're going to go through them, have a look at them. If it is a sick play, if it is like a massive play in like league play or whatever, maybe break it down so that people understand what's going on if you are kind of newer to the scene. But we want you guys to send in your most entertaining, your funniest, your biggest plays, your funniest fails. Send them in to us. You will see a link down in the description. Please go make sure you fill that out. It will be called Top 5 Submission. Go fill that out. Send your clips in to us, and let's have a good time with it, guys, shall we? Let's enjoy everyone's content.
And if we don't get any, you just get to watch 5 of my best plays. And
don't make me do that, guys, please. Don't make me do that.
Well, or you can look at my plays, Dale, and you can tell me what I'm doing wrong. We could do like a little like.
By the way, for no one that knows Morse code, that was SOS. Help! Yeah. For no one that knows Morse code, that was me blinking SOS.
What could I have done better? That's what we could do. You could tell me what I'm doing wrong.
I'd be down. And on the same note for that though as well, like if there's huge plays like at CDL or whatever that are going to help people improve, can grab some of them and break them down as well. But so last thing very quickly before we go into our picks for the weekend, because that is a segment we've got coming up next. We've got our picks for the weekend. We've spoke a lot about the league, right? For those of you that have been watching it for a while, you guys will know it wasn't always this franchise league that was a 25 million buy-in slot for pretty much the same product. Was that worth it? I don't know. Time will tell. Maybe we'll find out in future. But, right, here's the question I've got, George. As someone that's just come in and started watching this year, it's the same set teams no matter what happens. It's the same teams. It's always going to be Optic, Dallas, FaZe, Mutineers, like, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
To someone that's new and just coming into it, does having it just being the same teams over and over again help, or would you rather the possibility of like a team coming from the open bracket, beating pro teams and going on that run? Like, does franchising make it more appealing to new people to come in, or is there just that feeling of, well, I'm never going to get there, like, there's never going to be a team that can get there, like...
I think we could touch on this in a lot more detail next week, perhaps, but my initial thought is that, yes, it helps a new player get into it, because it's an exclusivity thing, isn't it? It's like, these are your teams, you know, these are your teams, these are your players, but that exclusivity comes with a double-edged sword. Yes, it's exclusive. Yes, it's nice and stable and it looks pretty. But it's hard to expand because it is so exclusive.
Yeah.
I think we should talk about this in more detail next time because
No, definitely, I'm down.
we could have a big chat about this.
Yeah. I mean, this is the thing, though. For me, it's one of those ones where it's like I miss seeing those teams coming from open bracket and making those runs.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing more entertaining than when a team full of guys that you've never heard of or like upcoming players come in, and it's like, bye bye pro team, bye bye pro team, bye bye pro team, and like you're sat there like, who the hell are these guys? Where did they like?
Yeah.
They made for some of the most entertaining and fun storylines to watch at events. So it's like, for me, it's like, I'm not saying go back to full open bracket form, but maybe put 1 or 2 tournaments a year. Like, just make it like 2 headline tournaments a year where there's an open bracket that qualifies you into pool play alongside the pro teams.
Yeah.
Because as it stands right now, even if you're the top of the top challenger team, you win every challengers event in Europe or NA, right? People are still going to look at you as a challengers team. But you've not beat any of the pro teams. Well, that's not our fault. We don't get to play them. Look at, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. So, and I think ultimately it comes to a ladder system, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It comes to promotions and relegations, but we can look at that in more detail.
No offense to any of my American friends. George, you watch a lot of American football. I've just started getting into it as well. You will know Americans are very much fans of franchising sports leagues. NFL, franchise. You're never going to see a team drop out the NFL and a new team come up. It's always going to be someone buying the spot. So it comes down more to money than the actual skill of the team. Americans, why do you do this? Let us know down in the comments below. Why is it franchises? But, yeah, anyway, so we've not got long left of the show, guys. What we're going to do now, though, is we are going to shoot over to our Pick'em segment, over to my side here. You guys will be able to see the regular season standings, and you guys will be able to see the standings within both groups as well. Group A, headed up by FaZe. Group B, headed up with Empire. But that Group B is looking very, very, very difficult right now, man. 3 teams sitting on 2 and 1. You've got 1 team in 2 and 2. Optic, the surprise team in that group, sitting at, what was that? I believe 1 and 3, 1 and 2, 1 and 2. But I don't know, man. I don't know. This weekend is going to be big.
You've got to believe a team like Optic can turn it round.
Oh, 100%.
You just have to.
You've got to, right? But this brings me to this, right? So underneath us now, you can see we've got George's picks. George, quickly run us through your picks. Explain to me why you picked the teams you did, why you're thinking scorelines. Like, run it through for me real quick.
I can't see it on your screen, so I'm just going to quickly pull it up in our chat.
Okay.
Right. So I've gone for Dallas to beat Florida.
Let's start on Thursday. We've got Dallas Empire versus the Florida Mutineers and Optic versus Seattle. Right, run us through that.
Although Dallas lost to Rocker, you have to respect Dallas's hard point, and they are a good control team. But the search is where I think Florida are probably slightly better. So I've gone 3-1 there.
Understandable, yeah.
Again, Optic, has not been performing on S&D, and Seattle have been a good side. So 3-1 again, I think is a fair one.
Fair enough. Right, now moving into Friday, we've got Ultra versus the Ravens and FaZe versus LAG.
I've got 3-2 Ravens. I think the new lineup is playing really well, and I don't think Ultra are quite as good.
Fair enough.
And then LAG FaZe is 3-0 FaZe all day long for me.
I don't think there's a question. I don't think there's going to be too many people that question that. Yeah. Right, so moving into the weekend now, Saturday and Sunday, where we go from 2 games a day to 3 games a day. First up Saturday, you've got Florida playing again, this time against Paris. Surge playing again, this time against your team, Rocker. And then we've got my second team. Like, Optic are always going to be my boys. They're always going to be my first pick. But my second team, purely because of Big Clay, New York Subliners versus Toronto Ultra.
Yep. Right, yeah, so I've gone 3-2 Florida, just because of quality at the moment. 3-2 Rocker again. Surge are playing well, but there's a little bit of bias coming out there that Rocker are going to win that one. And then I've gone 3-0 Subliners again because they're just a good team.
Yeah. No, definitely. Now, last day, final day, Sunday, FaZe Ravens, Thieves Gorillas, Empire versus Optic, the big one. Run us through it real quick, because I know you've got your head soon, so we'll get through this real quick.
I've gone FaZe 3-0. London are playing well, but I just don't see anyone beating this team.
No. I mean, I can't argue that.
Yeah, I've gone Thieves to beat LAG 3-2. I think Thieves are gonna have to get a win, at some point with this new lineup, and I think LAG are the ones that they're gonna beat. And then I've gone 3-2 Dallas, which you're not going to be happy about, Dale, but you have to look at current form.
Let's just get George off the podcast now, shall we? Where's the kick 'em button?
Yeah. I'll see myself out.
Screw the pick'ems. Let's kick 'em. No, that's fair enough. They're all fair enough results. Now switching over, right? We'll take a look at mine. I've gave Florida a little bit more respect than you. I think they're going to take 2 maps against Dallas, not just the one. Excuse me, guys. Again, Optic versus Surge. I think Optic in the respawn right now, they've been looking like they've been playing a little bit frantic. Dashy does not look like he's up to speed with the Krig. Doesn't look like he's enjoying the Krig meta. But as much as Seattle are starting to turn it round, they're on a tear, they're starting to find their footing again. I think the talent you've got on Optic is just too strong. I still think they're going to throw away the S&D, because they always throw away S&Ds. They're going to throw that away. So, again, Optic 3-1, can agree with you in that. Ravens Ultra, I think Ravens 3-1. I think that new Ravens lineup of Zed and Pollex being added to the team is absolutely fantastic. Zed and Dylan, you saw it back in Black Ops 4 on that Reciprocity team, complement each other perfectly. Pollex has been absolutely fantastic. FaZe Gorillas, quick 3-0. FaZe is getting that match done in 20 minutes. I don't care what anyone tells me. That's a 20-minute series. Florida Paris. Paris look like they are playing with their toes right now. The respawn's decent, but generally, like in the games that require a little bit more thought, your control, your S&D, they look like they're playing with their feet. So I think Paris are going to take that first hard point, and then Florida are just going to sweep the next 3 maps. Rocker Surge. Now, you gave Surge a little bit more respect than I did here. I think Rocker, honest to God, they were a team that could hang with the best last year. I think this team's even better. I think with that switch now, with Priesta doing his thing, Standy coming in, popping off, I don't think Surge, again, they're a good team. I think they might sneak that S&D, but I think you guys are going to absolutely dominate them in the respawns. And then New York Ultra, I think, again, Ultra, Insight, he's come in. This is another big move we didn't really talk about. But Insight into the Ultra, I think he's doing fantastic for them. I think they're probably going to take... the control. No, not against New York. God, no. No, they'll probably take S&D. And again, New York, they're just going to steamroll them in the respawn game modes. FaZe Ravens... I've gave Ravens a map in this one. You said a quick 3-0. I've gave Ravens a map purely because I think they're still in that honeymoon period. I think they are playing a lot better. I think they maybe take the control. I think they maybe sneak the control. Thieves versus Gorillas, the Battle of LA. Thieves 3-1. Thieves, they're a top-end team. Gorillas, they might not be playing it, but Thieves, they've got the caliber to be a top-end team. And if they get things clicking, no contest. And then Dallas Optic. This one I had to sit and I couldn't put my result on this one for a while, because it's like every part of me screams, Optic, hit them with the 3-0. Come on, we know Optic are capable of it. Just hit them with the 3-0, please. But I've got to be real and look at how Optic are playing recently. I hope that they can fix this. What are very simple mistakes they are making. Again, it came down to a Game 5, Round 11 last time we saw them play. I think it's going to come down to that again, but I think this time Optic will have learned for the last one. I think they're going to make the heads-up play. I think they're going to clutch up, and Optic win that series 3-2 with a Game 5, Round 11. Quote me on it right here, right now.
Right.
Boom. There we go.
I've got to go, so I'm going to let you close this one out. Close this one out, Dale.
Yeah, so guys, thank you very much for coming in for the very first episode of the brand new podcast. we're going ahead. George's got ahead, so I'll make this outro a very quick one. All links will be in the description down below. Follow both of our Twitters on screen right now. There is that top 5 plays submission form as well. Thank you to everyone who's watching this. There will be more coming. As always, guys, this is your reminder. Don't forget to rotate.